Freaky Friday. How are we doing, everybody? It's the man and the host of this hour, Sammy, the man McIntyre. We are back with Moving the Chains podcast. A lot of things to talk about. College football, late in edition today. We've got a lot of games to touch on. Ohio State, Miami, Florida. We've got Georgia, Ole Miss. What an absolute cinema game that was. Alabama getting absolutely curb stomped by Fernando Mendoza. That was phenomenal. And then I want to touch on Oregon, Texas Tech, which was pretty boring the first game of the day. But I got to say something off the bat. If you smell what the Canes are cooking. Because that's what happened on the other night in that game. To quote Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, The Rock, wrestling legend, that's what it felt like. And I got to tell you, I was not surprised that Miami beat Ohio State's ass. I just was not. And that was a game to me, and I heard Big Cat talk about this from Barstool, put it on Facebook or tweet it out or something. He exercised some demons. Mario did. And I've been critical of Mario Cristobal. I watched every Miami snap last year because of Cam Ward. And this offense was great. Defense sucked. Now it's flipped. Offense is finding their stride. Defense is cooking. Right? Cooking with gas. So, I'm watching this right now. In Miami, we don't know who's going to win the Natty. And it feels so nice. It's broader now in this world of college football. Which I've been critical of. I don't like the NIL. Nobody's loyal and all that shit. Be that as it may. But I was pretty like, I look up and it's 14-0 already. And Miami faced some adversity, which I feel like needed to happen. They lost a conference game, which back in the day, if you lost your game, going to Fiesta Bowl, no Natty. Not anymore. It's changed. I got to accept the times. I got to become adaptable and grow. And I was blown away. I was blown away by Miami, the way they physically beat up Ohio State. I was worried about Ohio State going into that game. And I was blown away by Miami. And that felt like a Mario Cristobal-led football team. Big, tough, physical, beat you up, take you in an alley, and whip your ass for 4 hours. And they did. And I can't say enough about Miami. That was just little brother, big brother. And big brother whipped that ass. And moving forward, what happens with Ohio State? I think Ohio State was kind of put in a bad spot. To me, on Miami's side of things, they're moving on and they look great. And on the flip side of it, to Ohio State, I want to touch on them. There was some weird shit happened. And I don't think Ryan Day got out-coached, or I don't think he's a bum. I do think he's a little overrated. I do. Jim Harbaugh was right. He will go to third base, and he did. And, he won the Natty last year. That kind of silenced some people after losing to Michigan again as 20-point favorites at home. But you can have those. You can have it a bad game, and in the season, you can stub your toe a little bit, as they say. And last night, I think Ryan Day was in a bad spot because you haven't called plays all year long, and now you need to because your coordinator takes a coaching job, and then it was a weird spot. And he hadn't called plays all game, and it kind of showed. Last two games, 24 combined points. With Julian Sayin, with those receivers, I don't know. But their offensive line's a little hit and miss, mainly in the interior. They don't have the running game that they had last year with Judkins and Henderson. So it was going to be kind of a struggle against a very, very good, fast, lively front seven of Miami. And they feel like, and I was thinking about this today, like the Miami Hurricanes when my dad grew up. Or any of your guys' dads that grew up in the 80s, right, when Miami was humming. When they had Duke, Sapp, Cortez Kennedy. You go down the line. Warren Sapp, Cortez Kennedy. Badasses all in the front. Back end was exceptional. Ed Reed. All those guys in the 2001 Hurricane team. It was stacked. Now, you can't do that now in this day and age, stacking rosters because of transfer portal and NIL and all that shit. But that to me screamed more to me about Miami than it did Ohio State. Now, Ohio State's going to be okay. I'm not worried. But to have a coach leave in the middle, I would have waited. I don't like that at all with the cycle. I just don't, because it's a distraction. It kind of doesn't. The focus isn't on the team and the play. It's more on the extracurricular horse shit. But be that as it may, is what it is. And I think Ohio State, I just think both those guys, Sayin, if you watch the Sayin and Carson Beck's been in this spot before, been there, done that, been a lot of big games down in Georgia. He knows what it's like. Julian Sayin's a kid. He's going to be okay. But if I got to say this, because Julian Sayin's going to be all right. He's a kid. He needs more starts, blah, 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 whatever. The only problem I had with him was he was going forward, taking those sacks. He was going backwards. Now, Carson Beck went forward on those sacks. It kind of was a little bit better. So, he got sacked 5 times, 42 yards. Like, that kind of hurt him. And he's not a, mobile guy. He's kind of stationary, your old school pocket passer from the 80s or 90s. Like a Drew Bledsoe in that mold. Can sling the pill, no doubt about it. And they got receivers for days. I knew that going in. But that just proved to me that it's anybody's ball game, and I kind of had a feeling Ohio State hadn't played in a month. Hadn't played in 25 days. So you're going to be rusty. You hadn't played. You hadn't tackled. It was going to be a problem. And the stat kept going out. These teams with buys. I don't love it. Too much time off. 19 to 20-year-old kids. They got too much fucking time on their hands. Didn't love it. So, and I also got to throw this out, because this grinds my gears to the nearest extent. If I got to hear one more moron from Ohio State or anybody related to Ohio State football, I'm going to bang my head in a wall. Stop telling me you have adversity. You're Ohio fucking State. You don't have any. You bully a lot of people and beat the shit out of people. But when the going gets tough and you play a real team, you crumble. I've seen it the last couple of years with Michigan. I just, again, and I respect, and Ohio State football is great for the sport, and it's Midwest, and it's Ohio State, and a big brand. I got it. But, God, spare me with the nonsense horse shit with adversity. You were down 10-0 in a Wisconsin Badger Big Ten championship game, and that's your adversity? No, being down 14 like you were in that game in the Cotton Bowl the other night, that's adversity. How do you respond? They folded like a little bitch. So, congrats to Miami. Can you smell what the Canes are cooking? Because they did. They were cooking with fire. They were cooking with passion, intensity, you name it, all galore. They kicked their ass, and they did it all 4 quarters, and they held that lead, which Mario Cristobal has been known to do. But he exercised some demons in that game, and kudos to Miami. They are going to the Final Four in the college football playoff. And the other game we wanted to hit on. So I was at work yesterday, and I didn't get to watch the whole. I had it on my watch to track it and what was going on. And so I kind of tracked the Oregon-Texas Tech game. That was the first game of the 3-game slate yesterday. And then I obviously got home after work, and I watched the other 2. And my takeaways from a couple game notes I wrote down was watching that game with Texas Tech, Oregon. Texas Tech had the easiest schedule out of the 8 teams in it yesterday. And the defense they faced, I'm reading this right now. I wrote this down. Big 12 defense Texas Tech has seen before Oregon were ranked. Before they played Oregon yesterday. And what they were ranked. 35th, 48th, 54th, 57th, 59th, 81st, 84th, 105th, and 114th. Not really great. In a shitty conference, by the way. Which has always been notorious for offensive firepower, which I'm all for. I love air assault attack offenses. But it's not sustainable football. And then Oregon yesterday have seen 6 total defenses better. 4th, 9th, 21st, 26th, 31st, and 34th. And I say Texas Tech hadn't seen a talent team like this all year long. I read a YouTube comment about that yesterday. And then a bye week isn't an excuse. Come on. Even if you got a bye week, I've seen teams with bye weeks put up 18 points, put up 3 or 10 or something like that. You put up 0 yesterday, Texas Tech. Shame on you. Now, your defense kept you in that game all game long. And I think that's more to do with Oregon kind of being lackluster a little bit. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I'll touch on them in a second. But Texas Tech didn't belong in that game. Stop being inclusive. College Football Committee, stop it. NCAA, which is code word for non-caring assholes of America. Boy, JB talked about that, but it was funny. And I'm out, man. Like, you put up 88 total yards of offense. It was bad. It was like Oklahoma. Like, that's what it felt like watching Oregon versus Texas Tech yesterday. It felt like watching Alabama, Oklahoma. Defense phenomenal. Offense, middle. Average as day is long. So, I don't have much to say about, from Texas Tech's standpoint. I just didn't buy it yesterday. Texas Tech looked boring to me. That game was a snooze fest. I got to be honest. Every time I looked up, it was 6-0 halftime, and Oregon was moving the ball. What? And flipping over to Oregon, I love Dan Lanning a lot. I'm not an Oregon fan, but I'd root for them over USC any day of the week. Your boy, Lincoln Riley's on the hot seat. Oh, sure he's the guy? But anyways, whole nother discussion for a whole nother day. But, I got to be honest, Dante Moore, my takeaways from that game, he's got to stay in school. And I think a lot of NFL people are rooting for him to stay in school. He needs more time. He needs more growth and more starts, because there's a track record in the NFL. These guys that win Super Bowls, Joe Klatt talks about all the time, is guys with 30 or more starts win Super Bowls. Or they participate in them because they've had more reps and they have more time, experiences, the calluses, so on and so forth. So I do think he needs more time. And I said this today. He needs about 10 or 12 more pounds of muscle, for me, as I'm watching it from afar. You watch the talent gap, Mendoza and him, and I'll get to IU in a second. It's looking like Fernando's going to the Raiders! Woo! So, talk about that in a second. So, I do think Dante Moore is a really good quarterback. And next year, when he comes out, he's going to be one of the top guys. And rightfully so. He's got all the talent. He's raw. All the right traits you check off boxes-wise. He's a great kid, all that stuff. He needs more time. And their defense yesterday, Oregon, was suffocating Texas A&M's offense, which, again, is not that great, as I just mentioned. But, come on, man. Like, I watched it yesterday. Oregon was doing some dumb shit. Offensively, some of the play calls they were doing, I'm just like, Dan, I like you, but come on. So, I think Dan Lanning is home run hire. Now, can they win a natty? They've never won one, obviously, in a college football. I do think it's a little easier this year because they didn't have to run into Ohio State, that buzzsaw last year at the Rose Bowl. So I do think Oregon, they're going to have that matchup where I think they could beat, I think they're playing, Miami? We'll see. It's going to be a great test. Two guys going at it. Part of the great Saban coaching tree, which is fantastic. You have Kurt Cignetti, Dan Lanning. I mean, that just it's cinema. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for next, I believe, is it Thursday or Friday? One of those two games I can't remember. So I cannot wait. But I do think this with Oregon. I think they are set for a long time. Obviously, Dan Lanning's got his job easier. He had a great runway at Oregon. And he walked into a really good situation. Mario, Oregon for the last, since mid-90s to now, they've been well run. And they know what they're doing out there. It helps when you get, Nike money back in your backyard behind this poster. Okay. But you got to do what you got to do with the advantages you have. And I think Dan Lanning's home run. I've loved every motivational speech he's had. He's fantastic. He relates to these guys. He's got great energy. He's just a Saban guy, and he's learned from the best. Learned from Kirby, learned from Nick, and it's just showing. And that was impressive yesterday. Okay, so the other two games I wanted to touch on, last two games, was I watched Alabama, and I watched Oregon yesterday. Alabama, Indiana, excuse me. And my takeaway from that game is Alabama is no longer dominant. They had a 20-year run where they were dominant. And I look at them now, and they're not dominant anymore. And that was embarrassing on all accounts. They had no fight, no fire, no intensity, nothing. And, again, I was expecting more of a fight from Kalen DeBoer's team. I've seen them come back from 17-0 this year. They just did it last week in Oklahoma, in a raucous environment in Norman. And that was the effort you put out yesterday. You look soft. Your coach looks soft. You look like a bunch of pussies out there. Come on. You're Alabama. Nick Saban set the fucking standard. You know what your standard is? To be dog shit. And that's what you showed yesterday. And Ty Simpson, listen, he's fine. He's just a jag. He's just a guy. Not a jag off, but a guy. And I just, can we put, and I was watching my brother. And can we put to bed the Ryan Williams hype train? Stop. He's overrated as hell. Every time I look up, they're blowing this guy. They're, just giving him a reach around. Crying out loud. Stop. He drops the ball too much. He's painting his nails. Gay. And then he's bringing a teddy bear to the game. I mean, what the fuck are we doing? It's just distracting. And that the Bernard guy's better than he is. And I don't even think Bernard was a highly touted kid. So spare me with the nonsense that Ryan Williams is great. Stop it. We're normalizing mediocrity. Enough. So, and I just was embarrassed by Alabama. You know what Indiana was? They were what Alabama was. They beat you to sleep. They suffocated you. And they beat you at your own game. This is not the same Alabama team. They were flawed all year long for me. They ran the ball. They never could run the ball. And this is my knock on Kalen DeBoer. And I like Kalen DeBoer a lot. I'm a Kalen DeBoer fan. Everywhere he's gone, it's like Curt Cignetti said, I'll talk about Indiana in a second. Google me. I win. And he has. And he's kind of taken these lower jobs and kind of worked his way up. And I'm all for it with Kalen DeBoer. But he's had a fatal flaw with his teams. And I was thinking about this today, too. He kind of reminds me of Bruce Arians. Or Kevin O'Connell. And hear me out. They both are really good. They both want to sling that pill around. They would rather throw 50 passes like Andy Reid or Sean McVay than run it like Kyle Shanahan or Ben Johnson. It's just, and again, I'm not your ideal theology, whatever it is. But I don't know if Kalen DeBoer like grew up around like maybe Fresno State, the Air Raid. I don't know. Because it wasn't like Lincoln Riley who grew up with Mike Leach and they were practicing 4 verts all the time. And that's not the case. But I just feel like with Alabama this year, I watched a lot of Alabama games, not because, I'm a fan, obviously. I don't like their fans. And I think I respect for Alabama football. But Paul Feinbaum, and I know I call him the Kermit the Frog evil cousin looking motherfucker. I call him out. But he was kind of on point today. Like, Alabama is in shambles. And you got to wonder, like, Kalen DeBoer's coming back. He's not leaving because he was going to go to Michigan job, obviously. So he's going to be fine. But you kind of start to wonder, like, where's the physicality? Where's the fight? Where's the effort? Where's the intensity? Because yesterday, I didn't see it from Alabama. I saw it from the other side, wearing the other jersey. So that I was not happy with Alabama yesterday. If I'm a fan, I'm disgusted this morning. Because that's not the standard of Alabama football that Nick Saban brought for all those years. They know for natties. They're not winning for 10 wins. Yeah, we're good, bro. No, you want natties, motherfucker. So, Alabama, get your shit together. You better come back next year pissed off, vinegar, and anger. And use that to your advantage. Because that was embarrassing. I took a nap. I came up, woke up. I'm like, maybe they scored a little bit. Nope. So, that was embarrassing. Alabama should be ashamed of themselves this morning. And shame on you. Wake up. Do better in the offseason. Stop being distracted by all this dumbass shit. And go to work. So, there you go. And on the IU side of things, look. This is the best turnaround I've ever seen in my life. I'm being dead serious. Curt Cignetti, Google me, I win. Yeah, he does. And you know what? He's got a little arrogance to him. I'm okay with it. He plays like it. Nick Saban, he's cut from that cloth. He's kind of Belichickian a little bit. Like mad scientist always got a scowl, and he's got the Chucky, and And I love it. And listen, I'm a Fernando Mendoza guy. I think Raiders are going to take him. And after watching that game yesterday, that's the Raiders guy. That was my only takeaway from that game yesterday. I just mentioned Alabama and all their problems. They're fucking awful. And they're donkey dick. They suck donkey dick. But I will say this. Fernando Mendoza proved everything yesterday why he should be the number 1 overall pick. Poise, composure, Guys love him. Even they had stories yesterday. I was reading a Raider fan page. Like right before he got on campus, he was getting all the guys' phone numbers and trying to figure out everything. That's awesome. That is fantastic. That's going the extra mile to do something for your guys. And that's awesome. And he's kind of nerdy, which I'm all for. I'm all for being nerdy. Okay, I'm a nerd. Shit, you guys know me. I do this podcast. Like, this is what I love to do. I love football. I love watching it. Eat, sleep, breathe, repeat, baby. But you know who also likes nerdy? Coaches. My knock has been, and I think this is why, the Manziels and the Cutlers, and I heard Cowher say this today, is they're trying to be cool. Like, just be your fucking self. Don't be a fraud. Don't be fake. That's the one thing that drives me crazy when I see fake people. I want to beat your ass. Okay? I just hate it. I'm going to Stone Cold stun you and so hit you with the rock bottom. But not Fernando. And Alabama's learning from Nick Saban. Or Indiana is. Because Curt Cignetti came from it. He saw what that process was like. It's kind of robotic. I got it. Doesn't matter. Dan Lanning, Curt Cignetti, I wouldn't be shocked if they win the Natty. Any of these 4 teams could win it. And that's the cool thing right now. It's kind of like the NFL. Like, I don't know who's going to win it. But I'm entertained. Cinema, I'm ready. So, one of the takeaways I had from that game yesterday was Fernando Mendoza proved why he's going number 1. And why every NFL team is circling that game going, yep, this is the guy. I didn't need to watch more than that yesterday. His stat line, 2 incompletions. He was throwing the ball down the field. It wasn't just dink and dunk. No, this guy doesn't care. He's fearless. And I know people are going to say, well, he threw 33 touchdowns, 6 picks, Sammy. Look at the games he... Yeah, I don't care. Like Daniel Jeremiah, who's been an ex-scout for years in this league, watch the tape. Tape doesn't lie. It doesn't. Go watch that two-minute drill in Penn Station, in Happy Valley, in front of the wideout. Now, it was during the day, granted, but the calmness and the composure, doesn't faze them. This team isn't phased. They do all the little things well. They tackle well. They beat your ass. They're physical. I'm blown away by Indiana. And my mom went there, and so I got a soft spot in my heart for Indiana. I've been going to games. I went to a couple of IU games when I was like 6th grade, or 08 was the time. Crazy to think that was like, what was it, 16 years ago? So, and 14, whatever it is. I can't keep out. But it was incredible. And I'm applauding IU because they earned it last night. And now we got to match up Oregon-IU again. They had that game up in Autzen. I remember that game. It was a great game. Now we get this rematch again. And the last game on my list was Ole Miss, Georgia last night without Lane Kiffin, who I call Ho Kiffin. Lane Ho Kiffin. I still don't love what he did. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife, which is facts. But I got to tell you something. Pete Golding, who, again, was on that Nick Saban coaching tree, had those guys ready to play last night. And I'm not going to... My takeaway on Georgia, and I want to touch on them first. It was a great game last night. The SEC, even though I just said it, the dominance is over, mainly for Alabama and those teams. But SEC still puts guys in the league. That's a talent pool. Come on. It doesn't get much better than that. And I will say this with Georgia. They're going to be okay. They're not the Georgia what they have been. But they're always going to be in the dance. And every year is different. Nick Saban didn't go to natties most years. Hell, he lost to Oklahoma in a Sugar Bowl or some shit, from what I remember. He lost a kick 6. They don't lose very often, and when they do, it's shocking. Because Georgia fans have been used to winning. They've won the last 3 years, and I get it. But the last 2 years for Georgia's felt a little different. Because they've lost those 2 games. Excuse me. I had to crack my neck here. And it's felt a little weird. Because, you played a Division II quarterback. You already beat him once. And I felt like last night Kirby, some of the decisions he made, it was just kind of weird to me. Now, is everything lost in Athens? No. My takeaway the minute Ole Miss won that game was Georgia's going to be right in the spot last year. Georgia still had a fantastic year. They had one loss. They lost to Alabama. They showed a grittiness. They showed a toughness to this team. They come back a lot in these games. I still don't know why they play like shit half the game. But they win. They show some resolve. They show grittiness. They show toughness. Kirby Smart is as good of a coach in America as you can get. 1-2 natties. I think he's had 20 losses career. I mean, he's just a badass. He's everything you want. He fits the culture down in Georgia. He's loved by the players. When I've gone on vacation with people that are from Georgia, they all speak like the world of them. And they should. And listen, Mark Richt did a nice job with that program. He's taking it up another level. And he's just done a remarkable job. And Georgia's going to be okay. The one thing I have, one word I always come back to with Georgia is elite. That's the only word I can think of. Elite. And that's what Georgia is. They just know what the fuck they're doing. The resources, they got it, all that. They just look fantastic. And on the flip side of things to Ole Miss, so Georgia, my takeaway is they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. Kirby, the infrastructure, the talent pool, they ain't going nowhere. I'm not worried about Georgia in the slightest. It's ended disappointingly the last 2 years, but I'm taking that over whatever the fuck they were before Kirby Smart was, before they won their 2 natties. And on the Ole Miss side of things, look, I didn't think Pete Golding would get it done. I thought early in the game, I still was laughing that Joe Judge, Joe Judge was on the Ole Miss sideline, which, by the way, he fucked up the last play of the first half. I didn't get that series of events at all. The route was shit. The play call was awful. And then the guy, what are you doing? I mean, it's just stupid. They wasted time. They were sloppy last night in that sense. But other than that, I thought Pete Golding was under control. Again, Kirby Smart was on the other side of the sideline, other side of the field. That was incredible. And Kirby Smart is I just mentioned it, one of the best coaches in college football. But man, I don't know if he outcoached him last night. I don't think he did. But it felt like Georgia was like kind of tight last night. I think Ole Miss kind of win this game like kind of loose, kind of free, and that was impressive. And Trinidad Chambliss, holy shit. I don't know where that guy goes in the NFL. Is he playing the CFL? I don't know. But if I'm a team, I'm taking a swing on him. Kind of like Jalen Milroe last year. Take a swing on him, see what happens. Because this kid's special. And I know Louis Riddick, who I have tremendous respect for. I love Louis Riddick to death. Love to meet him, shoot balls, shoot the shit with him. And still don't know why he's not in front office role, but be that as it may. He tweeted out last night, he said, Trina Magic. And it was. I mean, you could do that Fair State and run around all that shit. You do this in the SEC, I got more respect for you because you're playing NFL bodies every week. Okay? And for him to just shred Georgia's defense with all these guys. Now, this is not what it was 3 or 4 years ago, Georgia's defense. It's not. But the way that he shredded them was phenomenal. And Georgia, their scheme was kind of weird because they're playing all this man, and Trinidad was just dropping dimes. I mean, he was rolling out, spinning around. It was like backyard, sandlot football, and I'm all for it last night. It was cinema. So congrats to Ole Miss. Georgia's going to be okay. I'm not worried about Georgia in the slightest. They're still elite. But Ole Miss, fantastic. That was cinema last night. I was entertained, and that's all I need from football. So that is all I got for you guys today. We got 2 NFL games. I'll touch on those. I'll touch on some other NFL stuff I saw this past weekend. But Happy New Year, everybody. We're going to have 2026. We're starting off great already. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Freaky Friday. Got football content all weekend. Adios. Godspeed. Sammy Mack out.